Good morning, Rabbi Isai. From the East Boca Magid Ari Esterson. In honor of Adar, and in the spirit of Purim, I thought you'd like this totally not staged picture of me reviewing a few Daf Yomi Chagigah while driving and holding my son. Here goes. We have here. Oh, you got to hear this one. Tzvi Goldberg. Dear Rabbi Stefansky, hi again. This is the 13-year-old Lubavitch Bacher from Morristown. I got 20 people to join. Does that mean I get a free ticket? If yes, how do I claim it? Thank you for, I guess we're...
Chabad so good.
Yeah. He stood outside. He told his Rebbe he's going to put on tefillin. Meanwhile, he got people to join the daf. He will be here, I guess. I put him in touch with Mark, Murad, and we'll see him. What's his name again? Tzvi Goldberg. He's going to be at the Siyum, I guess. Pini Nezmi. Dear Belly, I've been joining your shir since Moed Katan with my Chavrusa Avi from Stamford Hill. And it was his birthday recently. So I got him an MDY cake for his 14th birthday. He's a 14-year-old. And I really hope you can show it in shir. Thanks. From Eli Nezmi. It's Geschmack to do the daf. Here it is. You can buy one of those cakes on our merch site. My friend Shmuli Shmu Allman got 3 wisdom teeth out today. He joined for Chagigah and hasn't missed a day, besides the first day. But he hasn't missed a day since that day. Also, he knows Woody, Chewy, and Kale twins, so that makes up for missing the first day. Here, Shmu, with gauze and blood in his mouth, doing today's daf. Now you see the picture, you have a different appreciation for the picture. What's noch?
I see a picture of Woody chewing the Kale twins.
Yeah, you want to see? Oh, he wants to see a picture of Woody chewing the Kale twins. Good. Good thing you asked.
I'd like to see a picture
Oh, you want to see the real guy?
of Woody chewing. It's about time. Get to know these guys.
Rabbi Isai, every day I'm going to show you one more character that we have. This one is your typical five-town Yavama woman. It's all about tznius. Here you go. 5-town Yavama woman. If you look, there's a lot of detail. She has, I'm not kidding you, a Prada Yavamas, Masechtas Yavamas coming out of her bag. Right over here. Prada, with the logo, with the whole thing. Tune in for more. We're going to match her up with Yossi Klein from Muncie. Okay, his name is not Yossi Klein, Mossi Flein from Muncie. Rabbi Isai, it's the last Sunday before Masechtas Yavamas. I know you guys are struggling because it's Yavamas. It's not as geschmack to tell your friend, let's start Megillah, let's start Chagigah. It's Yavamas. This is going to be even more geschmack than anything you ever known. Get your friend to join. Go to joindafyomi.com. Joindafyomi.com. That's that. Now, for the overseas visitors, we still have room. You're still invited. We have meals for Shabbosim if you want. We have places to sleep even. Not at my house anymore. Totally overbooked. Twice over. Going to be people sleeping in the hallways. Yeah, come. I have room. We have at least 12 people sleeping in my house.
For $12,000, I could sleep in your bed.
For $12,000, they can sleep in my bed. I'll move into Noam's house. That's fine. All right. For no money in the world, can you learn with me Chavrusa? I've already been asked. No. 50,000, 100,000. No. For 20,000, you could sit next to me in my Chavrusa and listen in. That's about it. All right. Rabbi Isai, today is Daf Chofei. And we're at what? Deadline for signing up for the Siyum. If you don't want to be charged double, and you don't want to sit there for 10 minutes or 20 minutes outside on a on the one computer we're bringing there for the at the door signups. So sign up today. It's Kedai. And if you think that you're going to sneak in, Yeshkeilu, to think, well, you have to get through 3 security guards with tasers, German Shepherd. I'm serious. I have a bouncer on Purim, bringing him and his wife. Zog Tehillah Gemara. We discussed yesterday the Mishnah that there's a chaymer. We said there's 11 or 10 chumras that kachim has over truma. The Mishnah says, we'll give you a bone, we'll give you something for truma. Truma is a little bit more chamer than. Oh, I missed those sponsors. As if I did them. I just threw them over here. Okay. For the Koilo, Mr. Anonymous, Lilin Shmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Masechet Chagigah is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah Shlema for Miriam, Esther Bas Devari Bekarov. Parnas HaChodesh, as a schus for Refuah Shlomo ben Livsha and Rivka Bas Gila, that they should be Zoicha to Zeresh Lekayama Bekarov. I want to welcome Akiva Solkowitz from America. Who are you with?
Baruch Schaefer.
Baruch Schaefer from?
8 years old. 8 years old. He wakes up every day at 6 a.m.
Your son does the daf. He's 8 years old.
His friend gave the challenge. You announced it already. But we're checking now.
What? The guy from Tarvadas?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wow. His kid is 8 years old and Tarvadas doing the daf. I'm telling you, they and we heard them sometimes. You have no idea how much goes in. Listen, if they know all the actors and all the baseball players, these 8-year-olds know every single guy on the Yankees, right? So why can't they know a little bit about Tum and Tyra? They have the capacity. Parnas HaChodesh, Shuli Rosenfeld, in memory of my dear friend Yudo Augenbaum. Parnas HaChodesh, another one. By the Lach and Lebovich families, Lakewood as a schus for our families. By Jonathan Davidov, in memory of Bechor Davidov ben Penir, may the Shema have an aliyah. Huh? Who? Oh, I didn't say. Yeah, I did say. Okay. He wanted a Yiddish, that's what he meant. So, we said that there's a chumrah, truma over kachim. Should be Yehuda ne'emonim al taris yayim v'shemin kol yomos hashana. When it comes to kodesh, Amaretz is believed, but not believed for truma. So, we said Yehuda. What's Yehuda? So, here's a map. Yehuda is basically Yerushalayim, this area right over here. So if the Amaretz lives over here, he's believed for kachim. He's believed that his kachim are tahar, but not for truma. Says the Gemara, what if he lives up here and he has to go to the Beis Hamikdash down here? He's not believed. Says the Gemara, no. Not. My timer. You have this invisible line, this red line, let's say, somewhere over here, a bunch of kusis that live here. The kusim, machlokes is always in the Gemara. Did they convert? Geri Emes, Geri Arayos. Did they convert because of the lions? They wanted to convert. At the end of the day, they weren't good people. They went back. Chazru l'surim. They started doing avodah zarah again. We got rid of them. They live over here. So what if they live over here? So wherever they live becomes like Eretz Ha'amin, like a different country. Different country is a problem to bring kachim through. Why? Because of oil. We don't know where the non-Jews bury their dead. They don't mark their graves. And the Kutim also, they're basically goyim that converted. Maybe it's not a good conversion, but they have those minhagim, the old minhagim from the Haim. They bury their people and they don't mark the kfarim. So how are you going to walk here? To get from here to here, you're going to have to step over perhaps a grave and make your kachim tameh. So that's why people from Galil are not in this. Amaretz that lives over here, we don't believe him anymore because he can't even bring it. Says the Gemara, V'neisev b'shida teva umigdal. Simple explanation, shida teva umigdal. This is from the Sefer, from Pirush Chai, from Mesachas Shabbos. He was nifter, but he gave me rishus before he was nifter. Shida teva migdal. Okay, these are large boxes. Large boxes, if you put things in a box that's very large, if it's a small box, not. But if it's a large box that you can't carry around, then it protects you from tumah, from oil. Here's a better picture of what a shida, what a teva would look like. Here, if you're a chashuv person, you go into one of these boxes, people schlep you. I don't know. These are not real bacharim. These are, look closely, they're here, it's not hats. Did I make a bracha? No. That's always one more edit for Yosef. He has to put the, he's not even here now. Zavi Shalom Aleichem. Okay, anyway, so, Shida Teva Migdal. If you're in this giant box, this could protect from oil emanating from the ground, from tumah. You have a dead body in the ground. The tumah goes all the way up. I just mentioned your name, Yosef. Just goes all the way up to the sky. Unless you're in a giant box that you can't carry by yourself. You need 4 people to carry it. So you can protect your kachim, bring it in this box to the Beis HaMikdash. Why not? What? Hold on. We're going to get there. Yes, thank you. Today, what's the Shida Teva Migdal called? I could do one of these. Why can't I come in? You can't carry this. Why can't I just come over the line and I'll bring my kachim? Says the Gemara, Mani Rebbe. Rebbe is of the opinion, the Omar oil zaruk, lashmei oil. A moving oil, a helicopter, a box that's moving with people is not a good oil. Oil has to be stationary. What if you try this trick? Try to go through America, Chutz La'aretz, in a box and say that you're not Tameh. Rebbe Metame, he says it doesn't work. He says it does work. Ask the Gemara, but I have another idea. There is a tzamid pasul. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? You're like Yaakov Lichter, and you brought George from Baltimore. Shalom Aleichem. Yaakov, you also from Baltimore? Shalom Aleichem. You're from that. You're on a trip. The Baltimore guys from Rabbi Lichter. Eichenstein Shul. We're not going to tell the rabbi. We're going to edit it. That's why I didn't think it was okay for me to go speak to you guys. I was afraid I was going to chop some of them. Okay, but it's still a Torah track. You're allowed to come Torah track. You're not coming Chas Shalom to join the shir. It's time to see. Okay. We have an idea. We have a trick. As we know, going back to that picture that I forgot to bring again, with the mouse inside the Kli Cheres. Kli Cheres, if you touch it on the outside, no tumah. The only way you can make a Kli Cheres tameh is by being inside the Kli, in the ear space of the Kli. Well, if I close the top of the Kli Cheres, then there's no way to get tumah in there. The only way to get tumah is from inside the Kli. Well, it's closed. Psil, tzamid pasul. It's completely closed. So, the famous picture. That's the, Gary, thanks for finding it. That's the mouse that creates tumah in a Kli Cheres. That's a glass, but since glass is see-through, I use that as a cheres. Fine. Shkoyach. But here, what about this? A little strange. You're in a plane, you see a guy in a plastic bag. In big letters, do not let children play with this. Danger of suffocation. And there he is, some chacham batata even tied it up. I know he couldn't have tied it because his hands are inside the bag. So some guy did a nice knot, he's in there. I don't know how long can you survive in a bag like that? I don't know. The story is as follows.
You have to wear a mask though.
He is... Dr. Factor wants to know if he wore a mask. They say this is at least 10 years old. Why? Because today we don't have this issue. We do, and I'll tell you in a second, but Alal goes around the cemeteries. But if you don't go through a cemetery, a kohen, based on Rebbe, cannot be on a plane. Why? Because a plane is an oil zaruk. It's a moving oil. And even though it's very large, weighs hundreds of tons, it's still not a good protection from the tumah coming out of the cemetery. And he has the isser to go over the cemetery. So Reb Yitzchak Zilberstein, I believe this is with the Haskama of Reb Elyashiv, says you can jump into a plastic bag. Why? I think, I don't know, I didn't look into it. I'm serious, I'm thinking about this. Now, I'm thinking aloud that it's possible that a plastic, what is it plastic? When Mashiach comes, what is this? Mashiach comes. What? They didn't have plastic. This is one of the best inventions of the last 100 years, right? What is this? It's possible there's a kli cheres. Why? Because it comes from the ground. It's not metal. It has to fit into one of the categories in the Torah. It's not metal. I'm just thinking aloud. It could be I'm completely off. But it's not metal. It's not wood. The closest this resembles is something from the ground. It comes from oil, which is in the ground. I don't know. It's a byproduct of the ground. Maybe. So Mela, here's a kli cheres. He says, go into a kli cheres, tie it up, summit puzzle, it's all tied up, Tumah cannot get in, can't get out. This Kayan, because he got stuck on the plane, he didn't want to be over, he went, he's not such a meshuggah. It looks crazy, but at the end of the day, Rabbi Yitzchak Zimstein gave him a heter. I just want to say that my partner, Benzi Freeman, he was already on a flight to come here on the United direct from Chicago to Eretz Yisrael, and he found out the United goes over the cemetery. So he forego his, you don't have the problem, Avi, but he's a Kayan, and he let it go. I guess he lost money, he lost a direct flight, it's a pain in the neck now. Now he has to go to New York, and from New York, whatever, he has to do something else. So it is an issue today, still an issue for Kohanim. Rabbi Schoenberg will tell us, what's going on? What do you have?
They redirected the plane so they didn't
Right, but not United. Elal, so why he's not a super machmer, Benzi.
said all of it.
At the end of the day, if they have to fly over, they have to fly over. No way to control it.
No, he's saying typically they won't fly over. No, we're talking about the cemeteries in Eretz Yisrael.
I'm saying if there's an issue, they need to not fly.
No, that's not the problem. That we're not going to be chayshish. He's chayshish for. Huh? Yeah. Right. That right. This was a special situation. What? It changed. It's supposed to change. But I think it was it. This particular story, Benny knows the guy. And he said it was a one-time thing. They said, Allah said, I'm sorry, we can't do it because of some sort of thing in the airways, and they couldn't do it, and they notified everybody. And he had to go home, so he put on a plastic bag as he got into Eretz Yisrael. It wasn't the whole flight. As he got into Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, but I don't know. Over here, you know for a fact you're flying over a cemetery. It's time to be chayshish. You have to get there. Says the Gemara. Omar Rebbe Lazar Shoinin. We learned in a brayso, Eina kodesh nitzol b'tzamet pasil. What are you asking me? You asked me go into a barrel that's completely closed. It doesn't work for kachim. It works for everything in the world besides kachim. We had yesterday. This is a chavivus of kachim. Kachim is special. I'm not saying that that's the pshat here, but when it comes to kachim, we're extra super careful. It becomes tamei even in a kli cheres that's completely closed. Vatanya, but I'll ask you a question. It says, Ein chatos nitzeles b'tzamet baz. We have the categories in the Mishnah. We have chulin, and then we have truma, we have hegdish, and we have paraduma. The problem is that it says, and you have to be medayik here, it says that a paraduma, if I want to bring the chatos, the water of the chatos, or the efer of the chatos from Eretz Yisrael to America, I can't save it by putting it in a kli cheres that's completely closed. Ein chatos nitzels b'tzamet pasul. So the simple diuk that any kid can make is, well, it seems like this is only the final category, the most severe category of efer chatos. That's number 5 in the Mishnah. That's the only one that's not nitzel. Mashma, that everything else, truma and kachim, you could put in a kli cheres. My lava kodesh nitzel. Loi. Hamayim sheinem mekudashim nitzel mitzvah basel. In the category of carbon, of a paraduma. Paraduma, you take a bunch of ashes, you take the paraduma itself, you burn it with wood. So it and all the wood become the ashes. You take those ashes, you mix it with water. The water out of the sink, or not out of the sink, out of the mayon, that water, also you're shipping it in these 2-liter bottles, whatever you're shipping it. That could be saved from tumah if you put it in a tzamet pasul, you put it inside a kli cheres that's completely sealed. But the ashes not. So yudik is good, but in the category of paraduma, we're not going all the way to the other category. We're not talking about other categories. In paraduma, one thing you could put in a kli cheres, one thing you can. You cannot put the ashes, you could put the water. Ask the Gemara of Amar Ula Chavraya Midakan Bigalila. In Galil, the Chaverim, those who are makbid on Tum and Tahira, they used to be mitahir their wine for the Mizbeach. Where did they live? Let's go back to the chart. They lived up here in Galil. What business did the Chaverim have making their wine tar? They can't get here. There's no way to get here. We just established there's a invisible line here. There's a bunch of kusim that live here. There's a bunch of graves. So why Chaveraya, Mitar Yayin? Yes, there's no Beis Hamikdash. They're doing it for the future, but they're never going to be able to get here. Says the Gemara, they never try to get there. Menichin, they put it in storage. They put it away, hoping that Mashiach is going to come any minute. And when he comes, Mashiach will show you here. If you go through this alley, nobody ever buried a body here. I'm telling you, you can go right through. We don't know. For us, it's all the same. We can't differentiate. Eliyahu will tell you where. As everybody knows, you'll insert your stories here of the tremendous mashgichin, the Chavetz Chaim, people that Reb Hillel Zaks, that they lived every day. Mashiach is coming. They had a special suit. They had a Bacher and bought Reb Hillel Zaks a sword so he can fight off the Amalekim when Mashiach comes. So he's running around with a sword. Different thing. People that lived on a different. So these are Chaverim. They made wine because Mashiach is coming tomorrow. What do you mean? I need wine for my carbon. Where do I put it? I put it in my closet until Mashiach comes. Then I'll take it through the shortcuts. Now we learned in the Mishnah B'Shas Hagita is Ne'emanim Af Alat Truma. Special dispensation, a special kula that when it comes to the wine pressing and the oil pressing, then even Amaritz is believed that it's tar. And we said yesterday, we're going to see it today again on Amud Beis. The reason is because that is when. Oh, that's very nice of you, Gary. I like it. Look what he said. Oh, he's talking Edel. Time's up, it says. Shkoyach. That's just to get us all calm, and all of a sudden, Shkoyach. By the way, I'm not kidding. I'm going to forget to tell you, so I'll tell you now because nobody's listening. At the Siyum, we should also have a buzzer or something because people will be allowed to speak 3 minutes, let's say. Buzz them out. Virimini. So we said the reason is because the farmers are Amaratzim, right? You guys that weren't here last night, I'll tell you the secret. Farmers, B'derech Klal, are Amaratzim. And Memela, if they're Amaratzim, the Kohanim are going to lose out. The Kohanim Chaverim that are makbid on Tum and Tahira, they're not going to get any food. All the food is processed through Amaratzim at the end of the day. Farmers. People are not learned. They don't know the halachas. So they're not going to get any Truma Meiser. So Mela, we said, at particular times, since anyways, the people are very into cleaning their kelim and the mitar the kelim, and the koyanim shouldn't lose out. Okay, let the koyanim take from Amaritzim. Says the Gemara Verimini, Hagoyim Zeisov, a person who's collecting his olives. Now here's a guy collecting olives. He's an Amaretz. Yeshayir kupa achaz v'itnen ala'ani. So there's a shayla here what the gear says. Is it to the poor person or le'enei koyim? It could be, it's very possible that the gear says, I'm not paskening what the gear says, but le'enei means that the koyim must see what's going on here. Because what's happening? These are olives. You put a bunch of olives in a giant box, what's going to happen? You're going to start crushing each other. And crush each other, oil is going to start coming out of it. Oil is one of the 7 liquids that's machshir an olive to be mekabel tumah, right? In order for an olive to become tameh or any fruit, you need liquid. You need to pour water on it. You need to pour olive oil on it. Milk, dew, honey, whatever. So here it has built-in oil that's going to be machshir. Well, if the farmer or whoever the Amaretz wants the oil on it, then it's tameh. But if he doesn't want the oil, it's not tameh. Now, does the farmer want the oil? Think about it. Does he want the oil? No. He doesn't want oil now. It's going to get ruined. It's going to fall out the bottom. He's not at the factory yet. He's still by the trees. He's gathering the olives. He's putting them in a giant basket. You see, here's a net. He's in the process of gathering. He doesn't want oil. So what he should do is, before he's done, and he's back at the factory, set aside a box for the kohen. let the kohen see, la'ene, la'ani, whatever the word is. The point is, let it be in a situation where he didn't want the oil, but once he's done, then he doesn't give it to the kohen. But what do you see? If he's done gathering, he doesn't give it to the kohen. Why not? Because we don't believe him. But we just said that during the gathering, during the pressing of the olives, even Amaris is believed. So what difference is it if he gathered it, he didn't gather, he should always be believed. Amaris is always believed during the pressing. That's the Gemara's question. The Mishnah is talking about the early in the season. But later in the season, then he's not believed. Why? Very pashut. After the season is over, it's not the pressing anymore. Not the pressing, the pressing. We said Amaris is believed during the pressing season. We're talking about after that. A few weeks later, he doesn't have Nemanis anymore. That's what we're saying. So give the box before it's too late, so you can see it. The Kohen will see it with his own eyes. Everything is good. Okay. What does that mean after the season? It says, like your father. His always grew late. He always did it late. That's how it is. Exactly what the Gemara is trying to point out here, I'm not exactly sure. Rav Yosef Omar. I was thinking, like, what?
There's a uniform time.
No, but we're saying that this is not uniform. There's early and there's late.
No.
So obviously it's not uniform.
No, there's uniform. Even if mine are all the time growing late, that doesn't mean that I have Nemanis during that time.
You're saying his father was compared to everybody else. He was late, but I hear it. Very nice. No, I'm saying that even though his father every year had it at the same time, but nevertheless, there's a pressing season, and that was after the pressing season. It doesn't matter that he did it every year like that. Says the Gemara, Rav Yosef Omar, B'Galil Shanu. So in Am Haaretz, what do you say?
Very impressive.
Very impressive. Very good. Rav Yosef Omar B'Galil Shanu.
Take any joke you can get on this stuff.
No, he had a good one, but I kind of ignored it. And when I was saying drowsy, the guy was doing the tractor. So every shear you're drowsy, so it's illegal to operate heavy equipment when you're drowsy. But now when you're doing the MDY shear, that was his bar, something like that. Okay, you're not drowsy then. Rav Yosef Amar B'Galil Shanu. So again, you're asking me how come the Am Haaretz is not believed? He's only believed on a box before, during the gathering, no oil, yes oil, only then he's believed. You know why? Because it's in Galil, it's up here. That's why. Up here, they're not believed. Eisvei, Abayo, that can't be. Ever Yarden, if you look right over here in the map, everything past this line is Ever Yarden, in the Jordan. The Galil, it says Mefurish, Galil. What you just told me that Galil, Amar is not believed, it says Galil. Harei in Ki Yehuda, it has the same halacha like down here in Yehuda. Amar is believed during the pressing of the wine and the olives. And of course, he's not believed in a season that doesn't belong to him for wine during the season of pressing of the olives. Says the Gemara. So you see that Am Haaretz is believed in Galil. So again, the question is, why is the Am Haaretz not believed? Like the Tarsus we said before, that's after the season. It's late in the season. That's why he's not believed. He's only believed while people press their olives, not afterwards. It says in the Mishnah. Yeah, they had a lot of shemen. Roiv means a lot. Yeah. Okay. If it's already past the season of pressing and the Amar shows up with a nice gift, the Kohen shouldn't take it from him. He should put it on the side. They asked the question, what if the Kohen took it? He took it, but he doesn't want to use it right now. He's going to use it next season. We said that the Amaretz himself could bring that barrel of wine next season. So what's the difference? The Amaretz brings me that barrel of wine. I recognize it from last year. It's good. So I'll take it for you. I'll save you all the effort. I'll put it in my closet. I won't use it. So what's the halacha? Are we concerned? You might open up in the middle of the year. You might forget. What's the halacha? We learned. So, just say this real quick. Sponsored by Moshe Horn. Unfortunately, this is going bye-bye. This Woody chewing kale. Okay. In honor of Shmuley Sugar, the original sugar shaker. You guys can get used to that one. Sponsored by Moshe Kinsbursky in honor of Brian and Talia. Look, Moshe Horn, the Olam loves your sponsorships. Keep them coming. Again, in honor of Shmuley Sugar, the original sugar shaker. It's very sad when the only entertainment on the daf is the turning of the daf sponsorship. Wow, unbelievable. Quick story. I'm not exactly sure about all the details. You could look it up. Something to this effect where there were a Ma'aseh Shaya. This is a true story. There was a guy that went through the war. And his father also survived the war, but his father was nichshal at the end, and he married a non-Jew. And a very wealthy man. And when he died, he left $50 million to his Yarshim. But he had a kid that was not Jewish. Now, a fight erupted at the funeral. The Jewish son wanted to do Kfuras Yisrael. And the non-Jew said, let's cremate him. Put him in a Christian cemetery. Big fight, and they paskined. So first he offered him $1 million. I'll give you $1 million. He says, no. If you give me your entire Yerusha, then I'll do what you want. So they paskined, I think, if I remember correctly, they paskined that he has to give up his whole Yerusha. Because Kfuras Aviv comes before Yerushas Haben. If those are the numbers, $25 million to bury his father, Kfuras Yisrael. Anyway, so this is the story. Nothing to do with that. Sugi, of course. So you have a Chamer and Amaretz. You have two sons. You have one that's makbid on Truma, on Tahara, Tum and Tahara of Amaretz, and Amaritz. She Yorshus Avim Amaretz. The father was also an Amaretz. Now what's the concern? The concern is that the product, that the Yarshin, the wheat, the different fruit, they were Mukhshur Lekabel Tuma. So the father along the way poured water on it, and he was happy with the water, or whatever it is. And now it's tummy. The chaver doesn't want it. He doesn't want tummy food. He knows his brother probably touched it, whatever it is. The father touched it, he doesn't want it. Kim rein, setz weg. Was steht dort? Nu, kim rein. Chaver Amoretz Yosh Zavim Amoretz. Yochaloim aloi tolato chitim shebemokim ploini vani chitim shebemokim ploini. Very interesting halacha. If they're dividing one type of item, they're dividing wheat. There's 100 acres of wheat. I take 50, you take 50. Yeah? So what does that mean? Yesh breira. Yeah, we learned it yesterday. Don't forget. Yesh breira. Retroactive clarification, says the Heilige Art Scroll. You can go back and say, this is exactly what the father inherited. 50 to you, 50 to you. I own one wheat within every wheat and you own one. No, but once we divide it equally, I get 50%, you get, that's what my father left. 50 for him, 50 for him. That's okay if it's one item. But what if I say, one brother says to the other, you take the wheat and I take the barley. That's impossible to say, retroactive clarification. There's no breira on two separate items. The father obviously gave over half of each item. I can't say. So what is that? That's a mechira. That's a deal that happened after the death. Well, you're not allowed to make a deal with the Amaretz. That's an isser to give the Amaretz food that he's going to be metama, says Rashi, lifnei iver lo yisid michshol. There's an isser for him to be metamet. I'm giving him that. Inside, I'll take 50% of wheat, you take 50%. That's great. Great. Breira. I want to get rid of the problematic material here or food, and that's the wet, the food that became mushal kabel tuma. You take that. Vani Yavish, I'll take the dry. Talat Chitim. What?
Here it is already.
Yeah, but he's going to eat it. It's a different thing. Shiloh, what he's going to do with it. Some say he's even a kayan. He might eat it betuma. Different things. So, Vani Yavesh, Talat Chitim, Vani Soirim. What's the problem? Yeah, so in this problem of giving stam a shiloh, a halacha l'maisa, it happens. You say there's something that's not Shomer Shabbos. Chal Shabbos for we know that the yayin becomes asr. He asrs wine. Are you allowed to give him a bottle of wine? The same problem that we have over here. You're giving the ma'aretz food that's going to become asr. I'm giving this guy non-mevushal wine that he's going to asr on the spot. Is that a problem or not? They talk about it. Says the Gemara, the chaver, he could use the oil for burning, the moist stuff that he doesn't want to use, so let him use it for candles. Ask the Gemara, according to what you're telling me, that you might be able to leave it for the following year, let him leave it for 1 year. Says the Gemara, you're right, but there's no raya from here. We're talking about something like dates. He's trying to make beer out of dates, says Rashi. There's no pressing. There's nobody presses dates. So let him at least leave it until Yantiv. Over there, the Amaris is also believed. The kids say we don't have a raya. At the end of the day, we don't know what to do. I'm asking you a question. If the kohen was over and he put his barrel that he got from he couldn't resist, a whole giant barrel of Castell wine, 2004, he gives it to him. What do I do with it now? If I tell him to take it home, he's not going to bring it back next year, maybe. So I'll take it. I'll watch it myself. Shaila. V'mamar ifrashti l'toicha revius, like 10 lines down. V'mamar ifrashti l'toicha revius kodesh nama. There's a trick here. Damaretz is believed on all kachim. Why is he believed on all kachim? Because if you don't believe him and you don't accept his wine for a carbon, he's going to open up his own Beis Hamikdash. So he's believed on all kachim. So I have a barrel of wine, most of it is truma, but there's a tiny amount in it that's kachim. So we believe him on the kachim, and because we believe him on the kachim, we must believe him on the truma. Why? Because if we don't believe it on truma, it's a disgrace for the kachim. You tell me that the kachim is mixed in with tameh, and I'm going to use that kachim on the mizbeach. So therefore I must say that the wine in the barrel, all of it is good, and that's why I'm allowed to use part of it for kachim on the mizbeach, because it's all tar. And also, there's something Rabbi Isai called the Beis HaPras. Why not? Go over it again. Jonathan Stefansky is going to get annoyed at me, but for the new guys. Here you have a field. Somewhere in this field, there was a body buried. Look, they plowed the field. The tractor went through. There's a big problem. We don't know where the bones are. Now, we're not choishesh for oil. We're not choishesh for oil. Why are we not choishesh for oil? Because oil means that you didn't really touch it, you didn't move anything, but it's down in the ground and it's going to pop up. The tumor is going to pop up. I'm not choishesh. Why? Because he plowed the field. And the only time you have oil is if you have some of this. You have to have the skull, you have to have most of the bones, you have to have large bones. That's not a problem over here. A tractor went through this. So what is the problem? Perhaps there's a tiny fragment of bone, a little piece that survived the tractor. And if it's a small piece, and you move it, bimaga, you touch it, ve'etzim kisaira is not metame ba'oil, says Rashi, only bimago b'maso. So if I touch it with my foot, I move it, then I'm tameh. So it says like this: Sheboitkim loisei Pesach. A guy is coming from Chutz La'aretz, Teretz Yisrael, with his sheep. He wants to bring a carbon Pesach, and he falls into this dead end. He can't go anywhere. He's stuck. There's a whole field over here. His narrow path, as he's going down the hills of Yerushalayim, up the hills, what is he going to go? Turn around? He's going to miss the whole thing. He's stuck. It says big sign, Beis HaPras. What does he do? I get down on all four, as the Gemara is going to say, and I check. Is there any fragment of bone throughout the whole field? That's only for somebody bringing a carbon Pesach. Vein Baitkin loichle truma, as the Gemara is going to explain soon, or Rashi explains it, because somebody that's coming to eat truma doesn't have a good excuse. Let him go to Yerushalayim with his truma. And what's the problem? Maybe he's tummy? Okay, so let him wait 7 days. He'll say, I went through a base of pras, and they'll sprinkle him on the 3rd day, they'll sprinkle him on the 7th day with the paraduma water. He'll go to the mikvah, then he'll eat his truma b'tahara. There's no reason for us to let him go through this field. But Korban Pesach, he's going to miss it. All right, Shmuel, what do you do? What is the picture of Minapeach Beis HaPras V'Oilach? No, Chas v'Shalom. We don't do Goyish sports times. I looked again last night. I couldn't find the picture of a guy blowing on the floor. I couldn't. What am I going to do? He has tchelas. Where's his tchelas? When he's blind? Right over here. He's wearing tchelas. And he has a yarmulke. His name is Michal Yarden. That's his name. It's not the person you know.
You can change his number to
Chav Gimel. If he gets down, Mamish Pashat, gets down and blows the floor. For all those who say, I'm stopping to come to the shir because he showed some shegits in the shir. So there's a guy that told me, Maisa Shoya, I can't say what he does, but he promises me that he brought 100 people to the shir through his business. He has a certain business, I'm not going to go into it because it's anonymous. Certain thing, he brought over 100 people to the shir, he's here, and he said the only reason why he started the shir is because of something similar to this. He started with that, and once he came, so we might lose a couple of guys on the way, but we have his 100 guys. Says the Gemara, Nachman is about to leave right now. Don't smile. Don't. Beis HaPras Shenidas Tar. Lois Pesach. So, sorry. Beis HaPras Shenidas Tar. If a lot of people walk through this all day long, we don't have to worry about it because that fragment is bye-bye. Lois Pesach, for somebody, bring a Korban Pesach because it's a kares, and the pshat is he only has 1 day to do it, and if he doesn't do it, it's farfalin. So Mamela, we let him blow through the field. Likely truma, since Rashi explains, since the 7 days. Hamida devrayim and makoy misa, let him just wait there, and he has plenty of time to do it afterwards. Now that I know that a guy that's bringing Korban Pesach, he's allowed to blow through this and check to see if there's any fragments. So he checked it for the Korban Pesach. Could he also schlep around his truma? It sounds very familiar. You know why? Because that's exactly what we were just learning. If a person has a little bit of kachim in his barrel, it's also good for truma. Truma, he has no nemanis. But since he has nemanis on the kachim, he has nemanis on the truma over here also. Since he checked for the Korban Pesach, I'm going to use that checking also for truma in this situation only. Interesting. I looked in the article, he doesn't bring it, but usually, Ahusab is Eliyahu Navi. Comes Eliyahu Navi, says, I'm telling you, Ula knows what he's talking about. It's not going to say, it says in our Mishnah, if the Amoritz was believed on Kachim, says, I put one. In Hebrew. I looked in the English one. Sorry. Okay. Does the English one say? Because I looked in the English one. I should have looked in the Hebrew. By the way, personally, I don't want to get into a big thing. For pshat, just simple pshat, if you can do the Hebrew art scroll, it's much better than the English, in my opinion. I don't want to knock the art scroll. I love the art scroll, English also. But they put the pshat on the top. You don't have to go to the bottom for the pshat. In English, they give you literal translation of the words most of the time, and to understand why those words are there, you have to go to the bottom. The Hebrew will stick in the pshat into the top. Very, very different. What? No, because it's not going to tell you a pshat at toilet. That's not pshat. Says again, by the way, that's whoever wasn't here yesterday. Why is it what do I do with this revius that's in my barrel? What do I do with it? The barrel is truma, and there's one revius of you do breira. It's called breira. Since I believe him for kachim, I believe him on truma. Chanami, in our case also, Pesach. Since he checked the field for Pesach, truma. Let's go a little bit more. Why not? No, I said the oilam is very antsy over here. What's going on? Should we do a little bit more? It's fine. We're going to finish. Look at Daf Chav Zayin. We have to make Daf Chav Zayin. We don't know what to do on Daf Chav Zayin, and part of it is for the siyum. So Memela, tomorrow we're not going to finish the whole Daf Chav. Anyways, But let's do a few more lines. So we're not stam. Kadi yayim kadi shemen. Tana. Ein emonim loyal kakanim loyal truma. The Amaritz is not believed on the barrels. He's believed what's inside the barrel, but not the barrel. Loyal truma, not the truma that's inside. Says Gemara kakanim the mind. What kind of barrels are we talking about? Ikakanim the kodesh. Did the barrels that are holding the kachim? Migud the mehem and kodesh. Why shouldn't it be believed? And it's the same story that we said before. It's a disgrace to say that it's not tahar, that it's tamei. What I'm going to bring kachim to the Beis Hamikdash that have tamei barrels. El kakanim the truma. So we're talking about the barrels of truma. Pshita, that's not a chiddush. Hashla truma lo mehemen. Even the truma itself, he's not believed. The Amar is to say that it's tahar. A kakanim mehemen, he's going to believe on a non-truma item, on the thing that holds the truma. Elo, we have to say berikonim de kodesh ubishayim ma'aseh. We're talking about empty barrels of kachim, and the rest of the year, and he's believed on that. He's not believed on that. Ubemalein the truma ubishas hagitois. Unbelievable. During the pressing season, where I believe that Amar is 100%, not for the barrels. So what's going on here? Says Rashi. Look at Rashi. Ubemalein the truma b'shas hagitois she'afapi shali goes around trumas and b'shas hagitois. It's interesting. You have to go all the way to this Rashi. You have to go 2 daf into the sugya to see this amazing Rashi that explains the sugya in the beginning. The whole reason I trust Amaretz during the pressing is so that the Kohanim can get a lot of food. Didn't say so. But on the barrels, we don't trust them. They don't take the barrels. They make the Amoritz pour it out of their barrel into my barrel. Okay, weiter. No, it's not going to be tamei. So you're asking me, it doesn't make sense. You're right, it doesn't make sense. In these kind of things, in Gzeres the Rabbanon, we're able to do something like that. We're able to make a combination where the food itself is tar, the kli itself is not. It's not a dairais, it's the Rabbanon. You're right, it's hard to understand. Fine. Well, we'll stop right over here. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.